And I'm pretty sure we're live. Let's check. Hold on. I've got my thing set up. It is Friday, January 10th. Let's just see if we got it going here. Hold on one sec. And I'm pretty okay. So it's a good sign. Second week of 2025. And I managed to get all of the stuff running off the bat. I would love to say hello to everybody. Hello, hello, hello. You know what the problem is? Hold on one second. I realized I streamed this to the wrong location. So I'm going to have to move this over. I think you guys are all still here, but I realized I streamed this to the WP Launch Club channel, which I don't use in any way, shape, or form. So I'm really sorry about that. I had a rough start to this morning. Let me see. I don't believe I can fix that at this point. So this is going to end up being one of those Spencer's 2025 flub ups where it ends up in the wrong spot. But I just want to double check. See, I don't think I can fix the problem. It's streaming where it's streaming. Oh, maybe I can. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see if I can fix it live in action before we get too far down the road. Now I'm streaming to 2 locations. So welcome back. This is Spencer's Learning How to Be a Broadcaster for something that I've done for 10, 15 years now. Good morning. Today I'm going to do something very timely because I've been getting good response. That is, I am going to show a real world business client site using the Minute Launch Kit. And I'm going to walk through some of the features that will be, I think, quite interesting to any of you who actually have real world clients or it's for yourself. And in this particular case, I'm going to go through something that doesn't necessarily have as much to do with the online things. It has to do with the offline processes that use the online tools. So lead intake, communicating with clients. And I'll talk about this particular client in a way that's guarded and protective of their privacy to a certain extent, but I don't think there's any secret here, and they're an online business. So I think we're okay with that. And before I jump farther in, let me also see. Oh, I see. Okay, so I can do both. Interesting. I've never tried this. Today with my mistake, I realized I can actually see both the channels streaming. Hi, everyone. Please comment here if you can to say hi. Okay, I see we have folks in here. All right, so let's dive in because maybe it's good. I'm going to start out with an introduction of what we've got. The Minute Launch Kit has a series of tools in it, and the tools themselves are really useful for the typical things that you would do with a website, right? Membership, marketing automation, forms, social community. But for a lot of businesses, what they really need are just the physical real world stuff. So in this particular case, I've got a client who I have a lot of sites with, and they're a really good client because they trust implicitly in what I've been showing them. And they've been doing things a very old fashioned way, using some online tools, of course, but in an old fashioned way, meaning like 5 to 10 years ago generation of WordPress solutions. And because we did some other sites together, they recognized that there was better ways of doing it. And as we go through this, I'm going to give you the examples of like the before and after. All right, so let's start with this. Let me clean up a little bit. There we go. And I had just updated the plugin. So when I go through this, I'm going to set this up. Good morning, Kai. Thanks for checking in. Sorry. I normally spend a lot more time talking about myself and what's going on, but let me just say it like this, just for before we get off the block today on this. There's a lot of friends, a lot of people I know who are going through much worse, especially those who are living in LA and other areas of the country around the world that are going through stuff. I am lucky to be here in Chicago and things are pretty stable. There's no fires or floods or any emergencies. But as you all know, I've been challenged for the last year and a half or so with the physicality issues. And so I'm always feeling, I shared this with Anne this morning, so I hope she's okay that I said that. I'm always feeling that my most difficult thing to overcome in life is control. And so I'm going to use a metaphor here because my physicality has caused me to experience the world through a series of challenges and things that were unexpected. And the nature of who I am and the nature of how I view the world is that I think all of us experience that. That's the point of being here. So I shared with Ann, I shared with you now. Some mornings I wake up and the physicality of my nerves and the things that I'm trying to improve through the various means available to me are often terribly frustrating. And I realize that the purpose of them being in my life is to learn how to overcome the challenges. The metaphor, and good morning, thank you, Anne, for your support today. The metaphor is that what we all have in life, what we're all here for, is to experience physical world challenges, to experience things that wouldn't be available in our spiritual world, because maybe things over there we have, think it and it is. But by going through things that are beyond our control, it causes us to reframe, to be challenged, to experience emotions, and more importantly than anything else, to draw upon the help and the support of other people. And so I like to say what I'm here for is to help and support all of you in achieving the kind of things that you want to achieve with your online technology and with the business practices, but that I myself feel oftentimes like I'm the student, like I'm literally the the student at the very beginning of the journey. And some days I wake up and I just have to give in to the process because it's just too much. And so today was one of those days. But as I approach these problems, I realized that the core of my feelings and the physicality actually are rooted in the lack of control. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I can maybe improve your situation, feeling a little more control with what you can do for yourself or your clients. And I am using that metaphor as I talk and think about this, that I will do the same for the physicality challenges. And I really do believe that I'm going to solve this problem. I really believe that it's a mind over matter. It's just drawing upon the things that we can all do for each other. All right. So having said that, and I don't feel like it's very woo-woo, because I think in 2025, the fires and the other global changes are really going to differentiate the people who want to be part of a new world of helping other human beings from those who do not. And I don't know who's going to be right or wrong in the end. It doesn't matter to me, because to me, it's not, we're all the same. We're all working on the same problem. It's just those of us who want to help each other. That's the choice. And I would rather do that. So I feel better for having done that. And I appreciate all the love and support you guys give me as I get through my own struggles. So that's why today I was a little disjointed. All right. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's talk about the business stuff. So what I love about this, and again, I'm not trying to say good, better, otherwise, this is a very successful company who's on the East Coast, and they're very old school. And the website is WordPress, but they've just got a lot of stuff in here that, to be honest, I'm going to talk about. It's just not necessary in today's world. As far as number one, the look and the feel of the website is not really my important part, but just the fact that there's so much extra stuff I want to comment on. When we talk about how to use the Minute Launch Kit for solving a business problem, I always use the metaphor of a billboard. So if you think about when you're driving on the highway, in Chicago, we have a very famous section of billboards called the O'Hare Airport billboards. Let's see if I can find this on Google. Show me O'Hare Airport billboards about hair replacement. There's a very famous section. I bet you somebody has got a picture of it. Yeah, here we go. I love it. So Google comes through. When you drive around O'Hare Airport, there is literally 11, 12, 13 billboards. I hope you can see this, that are all Brian Urlacher, who used to be a very well-known and beloved Chicago Bear, who famously lost his hair, but then got a hair replacement. And so all of these billboards are just like Brian Urlacher, Brian Urlacher, and they're just various versions of the same message, right? Hair locker, O'Hare Airport, beat balding. It's hilarious, right? But the point of it is that these demonstrate that all you need to do is impress people. What's the pain? How does it get solved? What's the brand? And this is really impactful, right? Right, Urlacher. Nobody even knows who Urlacher is. I don't think he's played for 15 years or something like that. It's been a long time. I think he was on the 85 Bears. I could be wrong. So the point of the story is that if we take this mindset, this client had a form, but if you really look about it, I mean, it does say HIPAA compliant professional document management, but honestly, um, it's not really super clear like what it is that differentiates them or what they do. So what we try to do here is make more of a billboard. And again, this is not a design commentary. This is just more about what we keep, what we throw out. Professional document management, scanning, and destruction. That to me seems to be the essence of what they do. So if you think of it like first line is, what's the pain point? You need professional document management, scanning, and destruction. Two, what is it they do, right? So what's the pain? How do you solve it? Well, affordable solutions, HIPAA compliant. That seems to be a big part of their business because they deal with a lot of doctors and people who need HIPAA assurances that the private information is gone. And then the three examples just reorganized. You know, these are the three things that they do. But besides the first part, which is what's the pain, second part is what do they do to solve it? Then there's the call to action. And quite frankly, this is the magic trick that I really want to emphasize, because when I talk about the 99 plugins and all the various things that we can do in terms of offering solutions using the Minute Launch Kit, you don't need to use all of them. Sometimes the business is actually really just about getting a phone call. And in this particular business, they do actually pay for lead generation. So there is a company that does a lot of work, kinds of owns the business for people who call about these kinds of services. And so they pay for a lead to come in, and I don't think this is a surprise, for people that are might be in their area looking for the stuff that they can offer. And the leads cost them money. So just like a Facebook ad or something, they don't want to squander it. So there has to be a way for, and I'm going to turn off, by the way, my, I feel like I want to turn off my name on my picture because it is just bugging me that my face is below. Maybe I'll do this. Hold on. I'm going to do the manual method. There we go. Well, that didn't help. Hold on. There we go. I feel like my mouth is interrupted by the banner. That's better. Okay. So what they've got here is they've got the call number, which is a triggerable thing. If you're on an iPhone or a mobile device, it will literally say, want to call this number. And the second is to get an immediate quote. But notice something. The rest of this page is very lightweight. There's only a couple panels. So one is an inline quote, which we'll talk about in a second. This uses Fluent Forms. This is the entryway to 99% of what their business is going to do. So my point is, back to the Brian Urlacher thing, their old website, and to appease them, we put a lot of these old pages in here just for the moment. These are all going to come out. The old website spent a lot of time and effort on SEO. And I've had this conversation come up endlessly about SEO, schmeseo. What should I spend time and money on making SEO? All these pages are like for old-fashioned SEO with forms. And when speaking to the client and to the person who runs the business for the client, we had an honest discussion about, well, does this matter anymore? And the truth is, no, doesn't matter at all. Why? Because, let's say, for example, if you were to go into Google and you typed in, for example, document shredding New Jersey, which is where they're located, and you looked, their company does not show up. This company ProShred shows up because ProShred, which by the way, one of the places they get leads from, has spent $1 gajillion. I think that's literally what it is, $1 gajillion on trying to be everywhere. Do you notice how many times ProShred comes up here? Okay. So look at what Google has become. Google has become just a garbage dump, a heap. SEO is a lie. I'm not here to talk about this all day, by the way, but just look at this result. Sponsored, 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 sponsored. Then you've got this business listing, which is really sponsored, sponsored, sponsored. ProShred shows up twice. Really? Honestly? Then you've got like maybe one legitimate. Then there's questions. Then there's maybe one or two or three. Oh, ProShred again. And then, oh, the same other company. Then again, more ProShred. Sponsored, 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 sponsored. So if you're a normal business or your client is a normal business, ask yourself this. If you have a very unique niche in a very small town and you really believe that being found by Google's mystery algorithm that has really just been proven to be pay per play is going to get you anywhere, great. If not, don't worry about it. You don't need all these extra pages of just bullshit. That's what they are, to try to please the algorithm. Instead, what you can do is create content and a mechanism that works with what's actually your business model. And in this client's case, the business model happens to be that people do call from paid referrals and from word of mouth. And so getting to that person first, being responsive, is all that matters. So having a form that starts them on the process at the beginning is all that's necessary, and keeping it super simple. So somebody can come in here, and it's, Bob Smith, Bob Smith Company, and it's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's just do this so that I can easily remove it. I'm going to do this live, and bob@test.com and their phone number. And then we just choose, instead of all that SEO, we just choose like, what's the essence of what we're going to be doing with this person, right? Maybe it's document scanning, or maybe it's other, because it doesn't matter. As long as somebody gets on the phone with them ASAP, that's all that matters. So when the person goes to the billboard, they drive by O'Hare Airport, the call to action, call about my new hairpiece, right? In this case, it's call to get a quote or submit to get a quote. When they do, they will be put into the top of this funnel that uses these tools. By the way, if we took the essence of all those other SEO pages, just put it into one panel, especially the thing about HIPAA compliance and showing they have a truck and showing that they have A+, that's all that people need. This is about as much as people, I even think this is too much, but this is about all people need to understand who they're dealing with, because all that's going to matter is getting on the phone with, you guessed it, a real human being. Somebody who understands their pain, somebody who can support them, like you guys have helped me, and hopefully I help you, in their needs to solve a business problem. That is what it's all about. The world of modern online business is changing because the interface that we're showing today is not going to be here forever. It's going to move to augmented reality and audio devices, visual devices. It's going to be talking to your phone and having it recommend stuff. In fact, let's just prove another point. If I go to ChatGPT, or if I go to Claude or X and I say, what are the best document shredding companies in New Jersey? Guess what? Google has no control over this. That's why Google has been a lie the whole time. Google was the Band-Aid between Alta Vista and Yahoo and all those little like manually curated lists of websites back when there were 5 of them. And I was there, folks. To today, where we now find stuff a different way. So look, it's just recommending ProShred. That company is just a monster. They're the UPS store of shredding. But you see, you don't have any control of this. Your client has no control over this. You can't do a goddamn thing. I'm quoting a movie now. You can't do anything about it. All you can do is find communities of people who are potential customers and create meaningful content, maybe like I show you how to do, that solves their pain, and put it into the community so that in that community of actual humans, of which we don't really know who are humans anymore in social media or social networking, those humans could go, oh, I got the name of your company. I saw what you said. Let me talk to you. Let me talk to somebody, or let me have you respond to me mechanically, but at least in a way that lets me know you're human. Okay. Throwing a bunch of bait into the ocean, paying Google to do it or Facebook to do it, no possible way that's going to work for most people unless you have a gajillion dollars like ProShred, because that's all that Google and Facebook and these other platforms for advertising care about. The things that work are social media marketing. When you have content that's meaningful and you put it into YouTube, or you put it into an Instagram or TikTok, or God forbid, whatever else, somebody who's live, who's human, can see that. And so let's get this started. Let's put a quote in. So now what happens is we just take them to a very simple acknowledgement, because human beings need support. They need to know, like, did that work? So all we do is we just give them a really simple thank you. Our friendly team will be in touch shortly. And then they do have, if you want, you can go over and read about their blog. I don't even know if I have any content in here. I do. So it's just general stuff about it. But the idea is you just need to know, like, I made a deposit in the ATM. Is it really in my account? I know it'll take 6 days to clear and get my money back, because you got to take the float, since my corporate banking overlords somehow have us believing that they don't magically have the electronic money today. But again, I digress. This allows somebody to understand. Now, what happens on the back end? Well, let's look at what's under the hood. We have the typical stack of stuff, which is in minute launch. Let's turn on hide notices, which is one of the best features, as you can tell. Turn the business website back into something that's manageable. I have the full stack of stuff. I have the whole Fluent suite. Let's go through some of the things. First of all, by using Fluent Forms instead of, by the way, they still have, you notice, because we're still transitioning them. This is the real business site. They still have their old Gravity forms. And I'm going to just show you this, because this is not something that I'm not showing or revealing anything private. This is just stuff that they used for all of those SEO pages. They had just infinite amounts of forms, but really they only got most of their stuff through the main form, the document scanning form. All the other ones were, maybe this one was big too. Most of them were just like a trivial fraction of the amount of input. And when I spoke to the person who runs the business, she concurred. She said, like, mostly everybody comes in through the front end and that's it. And I just have a phone call with them. So we're not going to use these anymore. When we went to Fluent Forms, what we've got is a simple form that's the one on the front end, and maybe there's going to be some additional tools. But here's the magic trick. We can manage those entries the old-fashioned way if they wanted to, by just looking to see if there's an entry. You're not going to do this, but watch. Here's the entry number 7, unread, that just came in. And of course, just like Gravity Forms or otherwise, you can send the notification via email to the team that says a new form was submitted. Look, Bob Smith Company, yada, yada, yada. But that's not the fun way to do it. That's not the modern way to do it. Even if you were notified of this, where you really want to go, and that's why Fluent Forms is awesome, is that we can see who submitted this and we can catch them directly inside of the CRM, because we've set up Fluent CRM to take care of that for us. Okay. So I just clicked on their name, and here's let's go back, because that's a bad example. I was going to say, this is their user, but what we really want to do is we want to go to the contact profile that has been created. All right. So if we go back over here to the Fluent CRM, and I've got a Fluent CRM. Let's go over here to the contacts, because what's happened with Fluent Forms is we've set it up with a stream, a feed that has put Bob in as a new contact. And in so doing, we still see the original form, but more importantly, he's been added to the list. He's been giving a tag of a new lead. Notice he's also a lead over here, and he's gotten this tag responded to inquiry. This means that if the team wants to respond to him, the information that is necessary to understand how to reach him with the phone number or with the email is all here, but they can immediately just get on into the CRM and begin interacting and taking live notes. So for example, let's talk to Bob. We're going to just say, had a call, click here. It's a full-fledged interaction tool, a real CRM, right? Spoke to Bob about blah, blah, blah. And you can paste information or notes or time or whatever you want. You create it. And now you've got something that memorializes the call that's associated with the person who came from the form. But now you can also do the magic. Fluent has a tool called Fluent Boards that I don't usually find very useful, although it's great if you wanted to use it as a Kanban board or a management tool. But here it really makes sense. Let's take a look at the Fluent board, which, by the way, has a front end version as well, if you don't want to keep going in the back end. But just in the back end, notice we've got a new card into the column called new lead. And it's from, you guessed it, Bob. So what I would say is for this team, they were very attracted to the idea, like, all I need to do is keep this thing available to me on the front end or otherwise, or just this page, and I can manage all the new things that come in, because as soon as one comes in, guess what? It shows up here. And then when I want to move somebody forward, like after Susie has had an interaction or I've responded to Susie, I can either move her manually, saying I sent the proposal, or do what I'm going to show you, which is have an automation that understands when you respond to somebody. And if you apply a certain tag, we'll move them forward in the Kanban board as well. So let me take a timeout. The Kanban board automatically displays the new lead that came in from the form. And I can then either manually or automatically move them forward into the next step, which is sending a proposal based upon replying to them via email, or just dragging them, or by adding a tag to their profile. So for example, let's look at Susie. We click this little magic link. We can always go back. That's the thing I was doing earlier with the user profile. This is how the Fluent allows us in the dashboard to move around to the various features. Notice she has a little tag here, sent proposal. So if I dragged her forward, I did it because I just already sent her the proposal, and now it acknowledges that by adding a tag to her contact profile, meaning that in the future, I can segment anybody who's received a proposal, but hasn't yet become a customer, or somebody who has been sent a proposal, but a certain amount of time has gone by. Because using the tags, I can go into the Fluent CRM under automations, and I've created these various stage automations. Okay. So let's take a look at one of these, and then we'll come back and try that live. First one is adding the leads to the opportunity board. So this is essentially saying that something triggers this. The first thing that triggers this is when a form is submitted, the get a quote homepage form. I have mapped the important fields, first name, last name, email. And I have also used the other data of which of those 4 dropdowns, so that when it gets added in, we know essentially enough to realize what to talk about or to help them. Once they are added, the next step in this automation is to apply them to the main list, of course. So, everybody's in one bucket. Like I use the metaphor of a ballroom. Having all your clients in one ballroom means that the differentiator for segmenting is just which tags do they have. I don't have to go looking in different ballrooms or different hotels to find my clients. They're just all in one spot. I apply the tag. The tag that we apply for these situations is called the new lead tag. That's the starting point. And then we use this, which is one of the Fluent integrations that allows us to actually choose in the Kanban board which stage to put them in. And we're putting them in the first column, stage 1, which is the opportunities. And then finally, we end this automation. Okay. So let's go back and look at the second one, because that's what happened here with Susie. We can do an automatic response to the quote request. So even though I didn't show it here, I'm going to, in the first thing with Susie, I'm going to show it now. When somebody gets the new lead tag, we are going to not just, give them a tag, but we're going to send a custom email. And using the templating capability of Fluent, I created just a really nice, hey, thanks for sending in your request. I'm just about to call you back. Is this a good time? Now, what does that do? That is a very human way of responding in the ways that we used to do it. Nobody just blasts you unexpectedly on your phone, at least not Gen Xers and above. Most people are used to the idea that, like, I'll send you a quick note, or maybe I'll call you when I know it's a good time. Like, it doesn't, I'm sure there's integrations with the bots that are intelligent, but most of the time I get these weird text messages at odd hours that human beings wouldn't do. And they're really intrusive, or they're really deceptive, or they make me, because I'm on guard, make me feel like I'm being fished with the PH. These are immediately coming right after somebody submits a form, but it's the kind of thing you would send in a text message to your friend if you were on the phone, or you thought they were on the phone. It'd be like, hey, is it okay? Can I call you right back? Okay. Which is important. Now, the person may or may not respond to it, or they just, okay, I feel good. I got an email, not a text that isn't really interrupting my day, but oh, somebody's going to reach out. Okay, cool. Next. After presumably the phone call happens, there's the proposal. So presumably somebody on this team is going to call, speak to the person, right? That's the whole idea. You got to call when you get these leads in because they're expensive. If you get a lead from the provider, they could be a couple $100 each. And if you don't use it, you lose it, but you still paid for it. So advertising, much like me with phone calls, advertising is great if you're available to make use of it. But if you're otherwise just getting leads that come in on a personal basis and you mess around with it, they may find another human being or another solution in the meantime, because people have a very low patience level today, because you just saw how ridiculously easy it is to find. There's 5, 6, 7, 10 places they could call. So in this case, the trigger is if we change the stage and somebody ends up at the stage of sent proposal, we give them the tag and then we end it. So all we're doing here is documenting when somebody was dragged from this stage to this stage. We're just giving them a tag so that we know where they're at. All right, and I'm going to do a couple more of these, but I won't bore you because I want you to just kind of like bear with me on this. These are just examples. It's not like a rule that everything has to be exactly this. The next is schedule job, and it's very similar. If somebody is dragged through the Kanban board to the next stage, like if we move Susie, that automation is going to give Susie the tag schedule job. Okay, so if Susie and this company come to terms and they're going to do the job, she likes the proposal, they schedule the job. That's a series of other things that could be automated, could be a product, as we'll talk about. But the bottom line is, if we go back to Susie now and take a look, she's going to have that extra tag. So what I want to impress upon you, see, schedule job, is that we are using the Kanban board as a mechanical tool to drag the person back and forth, add or remove tags. But the tags themselves are what help us understand, if we wanted to automate or segment, what to do next. So schedule job being owned by Susie means that when we go into the next automation, that may or may not be triggered by a stage change, or it could be triggered by, does she have the tag? Either one of those will work. Okay. Let's look at, or talk about real quick, the ordering process. So one of the things that I've demonstrated, I'm continually trying to improve, is at WP Launchify, I realize that the core of my services and products can be bought by anybody at a fixed price. And that's awesome if you can do it. So as I've shown you many times, let me shrink this down. I had great success in 2024 with this array where the bundle for $97 included 3 components, right? It was the software, which is the Minute Launch software, the unlimited email with Spence, the concierge on speed email dial, not phone. And then for most of my clients, they've gone along with the idea of using the hosting, because the hosting just provides everything working properly at a price that's a third less than retail, but probably less money and aggravation than anything else you can get on your own, with the concierge services wrapped around it. So this bundle worked really well. But as I introduced recently, for 2025, we're doing it all a la carte. So somebody can come in here and get a fixed price, right? Talked about this many times. Get all of the software, $47 a month. But a la carte, maybe you don't need the hosting. Maybe you just want to get the email support. But what happens when somebody has a custom project, when they have a specific need to pay me a certain amount of money? Well, I've got these pre-made ones that are outlined and defined, right? 300 an hour or the sprints, but I still have available to me, and this is what I'm getting at, the ability to have a custom price, because with launch flows and WooCommerce and all the other tools, we can have a product that is a catch-all that literally has a $0 amount, and it only applies whatever number you type in or you put in the URL string. So here I've got a custom project catch-all. And for this, I or the client could either go to this page and type in Spence, I want to give you $98,765.12. Add to checkout. that custom price string puts that actual thing along with the two other products in there, and I'm having a good day. But the client's having a good day because this particular client has a real problem with collections. When you're in an old-fashioned business, as many of your prospective customers are going to be, they have a problem where the companies are used to net 90, net 60, pay with a credit, pay with a check, pay with a bank transfer. And the reality is that the cost of doing business today at 2.9% plus 30 cents is for many businesses well worth it to ensure that they never get stuck with any collectibles, any receivables. This particular client had a very big receivable problem. So what they've agreed to do, and what I feel is like imperative, is they're just changing the rules. Spence does not do anything for anybody without getting paid first, because I realized many, many years ago in the freelance business, there's a lot of unfortunate souls who are doing the whole job, and then the clients, I don't like you, I'm going to go somewhere else. And they take all the inspiration with them. By making people pay up front, you're really just setting the relationship terms like in a fair way that make it good for you, make it good for the client. And by using a credit card, although I've only had one client out of tens of thousands ever do this, the client theoretically has the power of protection of the credit card company. I mean, if you really take advantage of them, which you're not going to, they could do a chargeback. But most clients in this situation don't. And I, in particular, just show how using the credit card can be protective of it. So one of the things I do is if we look at any of these hands-on support items, the credit card companies just want you to make clear that what you're delivering is not something that is a refundable item. Okay. And so what I did is actually on this one, if I looked at my, actually I may have removed it. I'll tell you what I had said because I had removed the old one. What I had said was on any of the hands-on support, any of the personal time, this is a paid no refund kind of a thing, but it's a money back guarantee on everything else, as it should be, right? In other words, like if you're going to go ahead and take my software bundle and you don't like it, no big deal. Similarly, by having a credit card on file as a mandate, this client is going to be able to say to their customers, look, if you want a wire transfer, great, wire it. You've got like 2 days or a week or whatever. But if you don't do it, we're going to run through your credit card anyway, and we're going to make sure that you're paid up in full. Well, okay. So Mike McCall, sorry, thanks. Great question. This is, let's use a use case, because saying how to get a client fast step by step is like saying, how do you make a souffle? I mean, it's just too broad of a topic. But what I was going to suggest to you is let's use today's example, because I don't know what business you're in, Michael or Mikal. I mean, that would be all the difference in the world. But there is one common thread. The common thread is how you get a client is three things. And back to the Brian Urlacher billboard. Okay. And let's use WP Launchify as an example. You need to simplify your message into three things. And then you start fishing in a place where real human beings have that pain point. What is their pain? How do you solve it? What's the call to action for them to take? Let's look at Spence. I help you create profitable WordPress solutions. That's the pain. I'm trying to create a profitable WordPress solution for myself or otherwise. I try to give as clean and concise a summary of what it might entail. Not all of it, just enough, right? So hungry, we've got the best cheeseburgers in town. Well, Spence, like, you need a WordPress profitable solution. Here's some of the areas of expertise or features that you might need: membership, marketing automation, online courses. What do I do about it? Well, the call to action is it all starts with a free consultation, Mikkel. Book your free call. Similarly, if we go back over here, and by the way, I appreciate the question, but today's topic is not so much on marketing as it is on mechanics. If you're looking for, or you get a paid lead and you need professional document management, and these are the kind of things that are important: HIPAA compliance, on-site document shredding. Here's the two ways you can get attention right now. Now, what's the overarching commonality? You're looking at it. I was blessed. I did a Twitter post on this. I was blessed because Fathom sent me an email, and I think I did this on my phone, but I tweeted it. I put it on my Facebook too. I'm going to show my Facebook because honestly, I don't want to show Twitter right now. If we go to my Facebook, I got this thing that told me how many calls I had. So let me share this. So I got this. It was a longer message, but I wrote this. I spend $0 per year on ads to find new leads. Factually true. I invest something more valuable, my time, into talking to real people and asking them what their problems are. Remember, I started today by saying over my 58 years on this planet, I found that the only thing that's a common thread is I really enjoy solving problems and then helping other people solve the same problem. And I get paid well for it because the value I deliver is I'm actually solving something that they can measure against the cost of me doing it for them. It's not a hypothetical, and it's not just like snake oil. So Fathom sent me a thing that said I had recorded 404 meetings last year. My bad back and everything. That's a lot of sitting. I was in I don't know if this means anything. I'm going to wear a crown today, probably. I'm in the top 2% of all Fathom users. Now, I don't know what that means, but Fathom is a big company now, so I must be spending a lot of time. I spent 383 hours on Fathom. I calculated that out to be roughly, well, first of all, my back, now it explains why my back hurts. But that's roughly, if you had a 40-hour work week, that's kind of like 9, almost 10 full weeks sitting in front of the thing, doing what? Talking to real people, asking them what's bothering you, what is it that you wanted to do, what is working for you, what's not working for you. Because here's what happens, and it is properly appropriate to this business. When I ask this client, do people give a shit? Technically, do people give a shit about whether you've got this type of shredder, that type of shredder, blah 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 blah? They're like, no. What they care about is the trust that they're going to hand over to a stranger, essentially something that could get them in trouble if it's not properly shredded, like, medical records or legal records. They care that they've got somebody they trust who will do the job and do it at a price that's reasonable. They care that they can trust that the person is going to get it done timely. The common thread is there a real person they can see and hear, talk to, that they trust? And what I'm suggesting to you is the biggest marketing skill that you can acquire is, in a world of infinite automation and tools, getting into relationships where you talk to people, communicate with people, that they realize you are not a bot. Because I am proud to say that spending $0 on Facebook ads, this little crazy business that I started, and I had 12 or 13 people working for me originally, then it was down to 2. Now it's just me. And I've had the best year financially and just mentally ever, because instead of doing what I used to do, which was just helping people by having somebody come fix their Frankenstein monster, instead we've just gotten everybody on board with, what if we replace the Frankenstein monster with a new version, a modern version that matches up with the world? Okay. And the thing that works the best is, yes, I give a little bit of information. Oh, let me share this. Sorry. So this panel here, we solve a Frankenstein monster problem in the old days by just working on Frankenstein. Now we replace the Frankenstein, and we also fix the shiny ball syndrome, because by giving somebody like you the kit and giving you all the methods and the madness for how to achieve results with clients, you don't have to think too hard. You can literally take the stuff that I've shown you here, or that I've talked about in the hundreds of videos, and just apply it downstream to your customers. Finally, the areas where people are looking for, these are just like little fishing lures that the catchphrase is, oh, email marketing, oh, coursework, oh, membership. Of course we can manage it. But 99% of the people who get in a call with me, I mean, I'm like at a 99% conversion, end up going, you know what? I can't argue that instead of going out and buying $6,500 or whatever of software from rando people like parts, I would rather buy a car from you. Or instead of going and carving wood into a chair, I'd rather buy some IKEA furniture from the guy at IKEA wearing the yellow shirt. So that's what we're ending up doing here. We're ending up focusing on human beings, providing a pain point that streamlines what they need for their solution, and making them understand they can trust you. Doesn't matter what you're delivering. It could be a website, it could be a physical product, it could be a service, it could be just a conversation. It's all the same thing. Okay, good question. Thank you for that. It's a little off the topic today, but I think it hopefully aligns. All right. So back to the mechanics, because this is where I'm just trying to impress everybody that under the hood, if I wanted to, I can set up a product that is a catch-all product, and launch flows along with WooCommerce allow us to use that product and make any price string we want. So inside of the emails that we're doing for automation could be just a response that has the quote for a combination of different products or a single product that customize the price. And the way we do that is we go over into products and we can make a catch-all. So if I made a new product here, this is a way to get an immediate payment with a credit card that goes into the system using all the tools. And let's do a custom quote. All we need to do is, it's a simple product, unless we want it to be a subscription. You can make it virtual. Set the price to 0. And then we want to tell it that it goes to the checkout page, just like all the other products. And that afterwards they'll go to the thank you page, because we want them, to get the, here's what you just paid for or bought and so forth. Now we can just clean this page up and we can apply a product image if we want. I'll just apply something that's maybe already here. Let's do that one. That seems appropriate. Okay. Now here's the magic. When I publish this right now can accept a URL string using Launchflows as donation parameter. You'll notice that on the product itself, because of Launchflows, we've got a direct to checkout link. Let's refresh this page. And I noticed that it's a little scrunchy there, but now you can see it. This Launchflows direct to checkout link is allowing us, if we put it on a new tab, let's say we put that into an email, that will send a $0 product to the cart. So to make it have a price, we just add the parameter or ampersand, donation equals, and let's say the quote was for $12,755.12. Okay. We hit enter, and that link will send that product to the checkout page with that product ready to buy. Notice they had something else in there. Also, by the way, see how the person can't manage right now this? Let's go in under Launchflows and change one of the settings to allow us to give the client the chance to remove any product. So we just go to Launchflows, and an example here is we're going to enable the visuals. So product thumbnail, removal link, and even quantity. We're going to add those in so somebody can see those. And again, as simple as it is, we refresh the page, and now we'll see that the client will have had the product that I previously had put in there. Let's let them remove those. But they've got the custom quote ready to pay with whatever method they wish. And here's an example, like that you can do check payments or purchase order. But if I set up the credit card, they could just pay it directly with a credit card. So the bottom line is that link is universal. If I apply it to a button or into an email, the client can immediately get that. Next, if I wanted to, I can also manage the client's checkout besides using this method. I could just switch to being the client. So if I go over here to the dashboard, if the client already has a credit card on file and they just want it to be taken care of, I can literally go to that client. Let's go to Susie. Actually, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to go to her Fluent CRM contact first and then back it up, right? So if I go to Susie, I can switch to being Susie or Bob. Let's do Bob. Okay. So if I go over here, this is where I have to, Spence is having a moment to figure out which of these links goes back. I forgot which one of these links go back to his profile. Hold on. I'll find it. It's fine. I think it's on this level here. Sometimes even I have my moments, you know. I'm not sure if this is it. If not, I'll just go there manually. I'm having a brain fart as to how to go back from here. So let me just go over here to the users, all users. And the point is that there's other ways to get to it, but if oh, I see. So the reason is because I've not made the let me clarify. The reason is I've not made these people into users yet. One of the settings that I've got here is that if somebody doesn't need to access the website, which in this case they don't necessarily, they might not become users. That's a setting inside of Fluent CRM. So here, what I could do is change the setting, which I do, by the way, for most of my online businesses, that allow us to synchronize or create a user to the CRM and vice versa, right? So in this particular case, I would just want to make sure that everybody who was added into the CRM was also a user. That doesn't have to be the case because maybe you're just doing a bunch of like they are cold leads, right? That's the primary reason why I did this way. But let's say for sake of argument, if I wanted to change this, I would go to settings, WP Fusion. And I would use WP Fusion in this case to make everybody into a user. So here, I do Fluent CRM, this site. And the reason I had it off is because this is a lead gen system, really. Okay, now that it's complete, I save the changes and I can refresh the tags and fields, but I just want to apply everybody to that main list. And notice this checkbox, create new contacts when register in WordPress, and vice versa. It's going to create a new user if they're added in. Okay, so let's say I've got that going. In this particular case, I can actually run a background process that I can synchronize an operation, right? So I can synchronize. I think this is the one that'll do it. Resync for every users. Let's say. No, it's export. Oh, so, I'm not sure. You know, it's interesting. I think this is just going to do it on its own, but just for the sake of argument, let's just do this. Let's resync contact IDs for every user. There's only 4 or 5 people. And the idea would be once we have somebody who's in there, I can switch to being them. And in doing so, I can go into their profile and I can just apply the credit card, or I can take the card over the phone, or I can complete an order. It's really super simple, right? So let's see if I go over to users. If not, I'll switch to somebody else. Okay, so let's just say these are some people. Here's somebody else like Rachel. If I use the switch to, I can go into Rachel's profile, and on the front end, my account, have the ability to interact. Oh, interesting. I think the problem, sorry, is that when I set this up, there's a few pages that are using a different URL. I always work without a net. We know that. So I suspect that my account page has just been relocated. Hold on. It doesn't exist. So let's just add it so I can show you what it means. This is a work in process. My account. And for this, we always need the WooCommerce short code. I'm getting a little mechanical here. Sorry to detour, but WooCommerce, my account. This will put in the necessary my account for WooCommerce so that somebody can review their orders and all the rest of the stuff. And the bottom line is, in doing so, when I'm whomever as a client, I can then go into their payment methods. I can change things. I can do an order, because you notice, see, it says switch back to Spence Foreman. I'm acting as if they are them. And then when I'm done with that particular thing I'm doing, I just switch back to being me as the admin. So it's a really useful tool, albeit me having a little bit of live without a net action. All right, so let's just sum up. What's the main takeaway from today? The takeaway from today is there are a ton of other features in here that could be utilized that all connect together with the user, with the contact, with the product, with the marketing automation tags. And in so doing, you've got a system that you don't need to use all of these things, but that for whatever the particular client purposes, you can set up something that physically in the real world provides a very streamlined mechanism. And I think the biggest takeaway is that the CRM inside, instead of it being a third party, is really super powerful, because when they are actually interacting with their clients, most of what they're going to end up doing is going to be in the CRM. So Rachel here, for example, who's running the show, she may end up spending 99% of her time inside of the dashboard on the phone responding to leads. And in so doing, we can automate some of the things that are sent, like, for example, the emails, because we can pre-create templates, or we can pre-create automations and campaigns that respond to things. So as she takes in the input and the information from whatever is happening, you can slowly start to improve the processes and reduce the amount of manual steps so that things happen more naturally. Now, I've done this myself with WP Launchify. A lot of what I do is still mechanical because, let's be honest, creating a global automation is something that if you have 1,000 people, it works, is great. But until that time, it's easier to just have tools that are fast. Just like I joke about it, but I've still got this computer I've been using since the 70s, and I just upgraded it. This is my computer, and I just upgraded it. I have 3 new options: red, yellow, and black. It works. This is the thing I use to take all of my notes, even though I program for a living and I do technology. Why? It's faster. It's easier. It's impervious to everything except for water and fire. Okay. What does all this mean to you guys? What am I selling you? Well, if you were to go to WP Launchify, what I'm selling you is a promise, a relationship with me that you can get off of the crazy, crazy, weird world of buying parts at the flea market of WordPress and trying to figure out solutions, because the 3 things that you need, either buy them in the ready to go kit or you buy them a la carte, will typically be the software bundle, unlimited email from Spence, and even the hosting. And then, because all of that happens for as little as $97 a month for unlimited use, you may end up wanting to do an hour with me, or you might do a sprint of a few hours or a week, or you might just do an all-in like a VIP, where I can promise and give you my fiduciary guarantee that we'll get the job done. And what I've found is that's allowed me to help hundreds and hundreds more people through 400 and something phone calls in a year, where maybe I had 12 people trying to generate the same amount of revenue or income with all kinds of problems. By going around the problems and focusing on the people, it's really remarkable. Somebody comes to me with a free call referred to from lots of different places, including the question of Mikal. Like, I am on many websites with my videos, or with like Call Spence, including WP Fusion. When they do book a free call, I am a guy that takes a 15-minute call, and sometimes it turns into an hour, because what happens is, as soon as you ask people what's their problem, what their pain point is, even me this morning, thank you, Anne, I need somebody to help me. I need a human being to work with me. I have things that are outside of my ability, or at least immediate thought, that I can fix myself. I want a human being to reach out and give me a hand. And in so doing, I can recognize, and I think your clients or these people's clients can recognize, that you may have a problem that they can assure you have a solution for. Or I said they have a problem you have a solution for. And it's easier and faster, cheaper to just get you involved. And that's what happens with me. I think I'm approaching like 95% plus of people who come to me for a free call utilize any of those things that I offer: software bundle, the email support, the hosting, or a hands-on. And that's the entire business. I hope today has been useful. I want to wrap up by saying thank you for everybody for your indulgence, because I sometimes feel like I'm really on the ball and sometimes not. Today is going to be a better day than it started, but I do feel like it's important for me to share I used to do a walking video when I first had surgery. My journey is the same as your journey. I just have different problems, but doesn't everybody? And I hope for everybody that you're safe and not having things that are destroying your homes and your neighborhoods or causing physical harm to your loved ones. But I think as the world goes forward, we're all going to have to go through a lot of changes. And this year in particular is going to be pretty crazy and wild. So I just want you to understand that my vow or pledge is to be of service to humanity, to be of service to you. I feel like that makes me feel better. And it's really the purpose for which I'm here. But I'm doing it through this just unusual channel. So if you'd like to succeed with your business online, your financial solutions, your technology, or even just the strategies and psychology, I hope that I'll be somebody you think of. And you can just do the same thing I said. You can start with a free call. Just go to WP Launchify, get on the horn with me if you haven't already. 15 minutes might turn into an hour, but you can also just click, my pricing and either buy the kit as it is, or later today, maybe I'll finally get this. Just do it a la carte. I'm going to probably have a bundle option at the top. Do it a la carte. $6,500 of software for $47 a month with one person who can answer all your questions about how the software should be set up and operated across all your businesses. You cannot get that when you buy the parts a la carte. You'll just get a bunch of cross-eyed looks after 3 weeks of waiting of, dude, we just made one of the plugins. We don't know what's wrong with your website. Okay. I want to thank you. My Fridays are an enjoyable day for me. I'm going to get busy, try to focus on what I can change and stop thinking about what I can't. I hope you'll do the same. If you've enjoyed today, let me know. Finally, many of you responded to my request about whether you want to see these quick tip videos that I've been doing. I got a really enormous high five. Yes, yes, yes. So I'm going to continue doing those because that was actually what I had started doing almost 20 years ago, 18 years ago, just a daily quick tip. 3-4 minutes max, just one point. And for many people, they like the fact that it reminds them there's something they could look at rather than chasing my YouTube channel. Hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you next time.